I'm Lynn Koolish, and I want to share with you some of the things you'll do in my fabric, paper, paint, and stitch class, where you'll paint fabric and paper in the morning, and in the afternoon use your painted materials to make collages. And along the way, you'll be learning about color and design. Paint is a quick and easy way to add color and pattern to both fabric and paper. You can use any type of fabric or paper, so let me just run through some really quick examples. This is something I do often. I just use a couple of different colors to create an almost solid but not quite solid background. You can add color and texture on white fabric. You can add color and texture on an already colored fabric. This one was created using a stencil in 3 different colors of blue, and I moved the stencil around each time I sprayed, so we start to build up a really interesting pattern. Now this is one of my favorite things to do. This is cheesecloth, and I put the cheesecloth on top of the paper and the fabric, so when I'm done I have a piece of colored cheesecloth plus fabric and paper with interesting textures. Now moving on to some more paper examples, tissue paper is really fun and easy to use. It will change the color of whatever you put underneath it, and you can also start to crumple it up a bit to get interesting textures. For papers, you can use things like maps, you can use sheet music, you can use book pages, and of course any of these papers can be used plain or you can paint them. One of my favorites to use is Chinese joss paper because I love this metallic. Japanese paper is also really nice. It's thin and it has a pattern to it, so you see through to whatever's underneath. Makes really interesting looks. This is a piece of plain white paper that was painted and patterned. Now let me show you, I'm going to grab that piece of cheesecloth again and put it on top. You can start to see all the possibilities of you can use it flat, you can start to scrunch it, you can start to pull it apart and open up holes to get very interesting colors and textures going on. So to show you some examples, now this one is still in process, but there's a painted background. There's painted cheesecloth on top. There's some threads running through here. This piece up here is a piece of vellum with some white patterns on it. Then there's another piece of cheesecloth, a piece of the silver joss paper. Now these pieces here were created by crumpling up tissue paper, putting it on top of plain paper, and then painting it. So this one is a combination of hand stitching and machine stitching. In this example, there's a background that was painted with multiple colors. There's a piece of painted cheesecloth on top, and these are pages. These are from book pages, and this is all hand stitched. In this example, again, there's a painted background, and this uses again some of the Chinese joss paper, but I used bigger pieces, so I have both the metallic and the plain paper. And these were created with some stencils and with some bubble wrap used as a stamp. This piece here is a piece of organza, so that was also printed with bubble wrap, but you can see how it overlays some of the other elements and starts to add a lot of interest in because you can see through it. And then in my last example, you can't quite see the whole thing, but you'll get a good idea. Now this is a painted book page. This is plain fabric. This is some of the Japanese paper. This is that patterned paper I showed you earlier. These are a heavier Japanese paper. These circles are book pages. And the bottom part is some hand-dyed fabric. And then I just splattered some black over the whole piece just to add a little bit of movement and texture. Now for these classes, I bring all of the paints, stamps, stencils, and all sorts of things that you can use to create colors and patterns on your fabric. I really like these paints. When you use them on fabric, they don't change the hand, but they're very versatile. So I hope this gives you some idea of all the fun things that you can do with paint and paper and fabric, and I hope I'll see you in class.